What's up, guys? Ben here, Tactical Nutrition, where we're slashing through the matrix, cutting through the propaganda to be the best versions of ourselves when it comes to fitness, nutrition, and health. So, this is an interesting video because I was listening to this old cassette tape, believe it or not. Somebody gave me some old, from our nutrition company, some old products and old, kind of like literature. And one of them was a cassette tape from like 1985. And I can't remember the guy's name, but it was actually, I believe, the Secretary of Health. It was someone really high up in the government. And this was kind of before things got like really, really corrupt and our public health system became a farcical joke like it is now. Failure. With every disease on the rise, you would think, as a side note, real quick, you would think, right? If you had an employee and who's constantly failing and constantly messing up and constantly losing you money and all of his metrics were getting worse year after year after year, you think you'd make some changes, right? That's our public health system. And people think that you need to throw more money at it. That's the government's way to deal with anything. Is, oh, they're a massive failure. And then, of course, this is how corrupt bureaucracies work. We're not a corrupt, massive failure. We just need more money. But we gave you more and more money every single year for the past like 5 decades, and everything's getting worse and worse. And but you're making more and more money. Like, well, we just need more money. It's kind of like the public education system. Our literacy rates have hit all-time lows. And the idea is people just we need to throw more money at public education. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. This guy is Paul something. Maybe I'll be able to find it out. Maybe if you're in the chat, you can find this out. I think it was the head of Health and Human Services or Secretary of Health or some title. Again, and I listened to this like 12 years ago. But he made a really good point about why the medical system will never truly incorporate nutrition into their procedures and plans. I'm talking about allopathic medicine, which to me is the worst of the worst. This is just the drug and surgery based medicine. There's integrated medicine, and there's there's hybrids now, and there's good doctors you can find that are like not only MDs but also like know a lot about nutrition and the stuff that actually gets you healthy instead of just like drugs. But the point he made was that allopathic medicine, we're in this interesting time. I call it the cult of science because the term has become very, it's been very hipsterized by a lot of like the pseudo intellectuals out there. Like the midwits is what I would call them. That's just the people that are right in the middle that like think they're smart, but they're really not. And I'm not trying to be mean, but I've seen it time and time again. There's nothing wrong with admitting that you don't know something. But a lot of these people, I've been challenged online time and time again. Well, I believe in science. And it's just like, what does that even mean anymore? Like, you believe in science. Which science are you talking about? Are we talking about psychology, kinesiology, electricity, engineering? I mean, which science are you talking about here? Rocket science? Like, the most vaguest cliche term out there. So I call it the cult of science because it's become such an overarching term, and it's been so corrupted in so many ways, especially with medicine, that we have the scientific method, which we all learn in school. In my bachelor's degree in science, of course, I don't believe in science, right? But sorry, I get a kick out of it sometimes, just because I'm very confident in the things that I know. And so essentially this makes sense though. So he was talking about how modern medicine is like is obviously they say they're science based, you know, everything has to be proven in a peer reviewed study, and in a way it makes sense. But there's some things that'll just you know, you can use anecdotal evidence to, like, you can say that, like, eating avocados and olive oil is good for you, but like it's kind of hard to, like, hair. It's kind of hard to prove that. And the reason is, this is what he said. There's about 5 billion procedures in your cells on average per second. Now, where they get that number, I don't really know. The point is, it's a lot. It's way too much for a human to be able to, like, really decipher what's going on. Like, we get these diagrams of, like, cells in school. They're very dumbed down in the cartoons, I call them. You know, like, here's the ribosomes, and here's the ectoplasm, and here's the nucleus. And, like, it looks like it's something that you should be able to look through a microscope and really see what's going on. Nothing could be further from the truth. Because the fact is, think about all the processes that are going on every single second. Now, he said 5 billion. I don't know how accurate that number is, but let's say even if it was 5 million, even if it's like 500, even if it's 5,000, that's almost like, that's per second. It's too much for someone to really be able to log. So what they can do is, when they drug the population, they can obviously see, like, okay, here's your high blood pressure medication, and they take your blood pressure before, and then they take it afterwards, and it's like, okay, your blood pressure went down. They know it had an effect. It can be measured. That's the science. Nutrition is different, because you'll never be able, they'll never, like, maybe they'll have the technology someday, I hope, that vitamin C traveling through your bloodstream and going into the cell and actually performing its duties as an antioxidant or so. And it's even used for energy too. But, like, think of all these nutrients that are floating through your bloodstream and going from cell to cell at any given time. All the fats, all the numerous proteins, and then all the vitamins and minerals and magnesium and selenium and chromium and copper and trace amounts of this and trace amounts of that. This is all floating through. Like, imagine looking at the blood in these under a microscope and trying to make sense of what's going on. But what he was saying, to wrap this rant up, is the reason is there's no real way to see how the food or the nutrient is actually acting on the cell, so they can't really get these, like, you know, definite measurable changes. So that's one reason why they don't use, they say nutrition, it's kind of like hodgepodge, right? Balderdash, poppycock, whatever you want to call it. Even though anyone out there who's into fitness and health knows that what you eat is, if not the most important thing, one of the most important things out there. The things that you put in your mouth. Like, when I learned about I don't know, I tend to listen to people based off of their results, right? If you're someone that's, like, always sick and, like, you're on all these medications, I'm probably not going to listen to you about health. I'm just being honest. Might try and help you, but you're not really, it's like, yeah, you're not really where I want to be. I feel like I'm where a lot of people would actually want to be, because I don't get sick. I have a lot of energy. I don't get injured. You know, like, I'm healthy. And, but the point is, it's just interesting how he was talking about how we don't think about how many processes are going on in each cell in the body. And obviously there's specialized cells, like there's nerve cells, and then there's neurons in your brain. They're trying to figure, the science only goes so far, right? And so, like, it's hard to determine, like, that's why something like fish oils is kind of interesting, because, like, they say fish oils is good for your blood pressure. But it's hard to run studies. It's really hard to run nutritional studies because you have to do them long term, right? At least like 6 months, right? Longer than the garbage drug trials that they do for like 3 months and then put people on the drug for the rest of their life. But you need to do this. And then, so you need to account for a lot of things because it's hard to get a big control group that's going to eat like exactly the same thing, right? People are going to lie. People are going to eat different foods. They're going to fall off the wagon. They're not going to follow the protocol perfectly. So it's really hard to run nutritional studies. The only one that I've really seen, I guess, is the China study. But even that one was corrupted because they ended up wanting to like promote just nothing but like plant-based diet. And I read the book a long time. It was one of the first nutrition books I read. And then I read the people dismantling it, and there's a corruption of the author. There's so much going on in the industry. And that's why, guys, you don't have to know all this. But what you should know is like when you go in, just because like you go into the doctor's office and it looks so futuristic and they got all this machines and we're going to test this and we're going to test that. And yes, you should get your hormones, testosterone levels tested. I haven't in a while, but I will eventually here. But it's not necessarily the best way to go. The best things you can do are still simple. Your body, this is how I'll end this video. Your body, with our nutrition company, I always liked the slogan where it's like, all you do is you give your body what it needs and it heals itself. There's a lot we don't understand with the body. We don't understand why vitamin D gets converted to this or that and then floats through the bloodstream and somehow knows to go to this certain... I mean, it's pretty crazy when you think about it. It's a spiritual type of thought. Like your body, you cut your skin, your body knows exactly how to like heal it, like you're some kind of cyborg. These things sound so simple, but you know, you give your body what it needs, it will take care of it. You don't have to think about everything. You don't have to like, it's just like you don't think about your heart beating. You don't think about breathing normally. All these things, your blood pressure changing. All these things are happening automatically. And so if you learn about nutrition and it makes you realize how bad the food is that most people are eating, like, you go out and you eat fast food. One time here and there, it's not going to do anything. But people have become to the point where, yes, it's become the hallmark of your diet. And you're 70 pounds overweight, of course you're going to have problems. That's not how human beings were meant to be. Anyway, I just wanted to... kind of a random video, a little sciencey one without the science. Just know that there's so much going on in your body. That's one reason why you kind of have to just like, you almost have to do like trial and error and see what works for you. When you feel good and you look good and you have high energy and you're sleeping well, you're on the right track. We don't have to overcomplicate everything, okay? Your joints don't hurt. You're not constantly getting sick. Not constantly getting like sinus infections. That's where it's at. So guys, if you like this video, please, you know the deal. Please like it, comment. The YouTube algorithm with these new channels is really tough to organically grow. I'm growing followers slowly, but it would really help out to, you know, and if you think this is interesting, share it, tag someone in the comments. Anyway, like usual, I got my programs available, tacticalnutrition.net, custom plans, 1 month, 3 month, 12 months. Almost forgot my own plans. Follow me on Instagram, Tactical Nutrition Fit. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.